Good morning, good evening, Facebook, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to this very special show with my guest, Mark Shaw. Good afternoon, Mark.
Hey, Stephen, and hi to all your guests. Thank you for having me on your show today.
I'm delighted. I thought of doing this many moons ago, and we just met by accident on LinkedIn the other day, and I took my chance that you might be free, and here we are. And to everybody who's watching today, we'd like to say welcome to the show. And if you enjoy the show, could you please share it? You see, I got the call to action in then, Mark. I'm getting used to that. If you don't ask, you don't get, do you?
You got to keep prompting and asking people, that's for sure. Hey, Stephen.
Right, and welcome, Steve. Good to see you, and I'm delighted to be here with Mark. Now, yesterday, when we were talking about this show, we came with some questions, and the first one of those is about your podcast. And why did you start the podcast?
Well, a little bit of background history. I've been heavily involved with Twitter for the last 9 years. I've been speaking around the country, around the world, in fact, training, supporting, and doing all sorts of stuff. And I've had a great time. But recently, everyone and their auntie are social media experts, Twitter experts. So I've taken a bit of a back step and thought, you know what, what's the next thing? What would I like to do next? I was in Spain for 4 months. I got back from Spain, got my business mojo back, and I thought, you know what, I've still got a lot to offer about business in general, particularly small business in general. I've been in the trenches as a small business owner for about 10 years now. And I thought, what medium can I use that works for me to get my message out? Now, I've thought about a podcast. This is where it gets quite funny. I've thought about a podcast for many years. But every time I see someone doing it, they've got the microphone, they've got the sound desks, the mixing desk, their bedrooms like NASA, they have all the software. And with the greatest respect, that's not me. I'm 51, I think, 51 or 2, whatever. And I just think, you know what, I don't want to learn all that stuff. I don't want to do all that stuff. How can I do this the Mark Shaw way that works for me? And you'll laugh because someone said to me about 5 weeks ago, Mark, you got voice memo on your iPhone. And I didn't know what that was. And they said, you can just record yourself on your iPhone. Why don't you use that? Bingo. So that is how I do my podcast. I use my iPhone with my iPhone headset. I have no technology. I don't edit, mix, intros, outros, adverts, sponsored, nothing. But what I also do is I target the show, very much small business. That's it. And the other thing that I noticed is most of the shows I listened to or I was listening to were half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour. But most of that, a lot of that was rambling about nothing, advertising, sponsorship, giving you all this blurbage that you just wanted to fast forward. You know, I was listening to one the other day, 7 minutes, and they hadn't said anything yet. And I'm going, come on. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a show that is 5 to 6 minutes daily. And that's it. No ads, no rambling, hard business advice that you need to hear. And that essentially is the journey. I've made every mistake under the sun in setting it up. I've got it wrong. I've got it right. I've got it really wrong. I've changed it and dropped it. But I'm now at a place where it's really working well for me. But here's some important things about some of my rationale as well. Firstly, I like video. And in an ideal world, I think video outweighs audio all day long. People can see you, get to know, like, and trust you, and you build up the rapport and all the rest of it. But we don't live in an ideal world. And I think the biggest factor that affects people absorbing your content is time. No one's got any time for anything anymore, unless you're doing something very specific, very targeted, relevant to that target audience. The beauty of podcasting is you can it's the only thing you can do and multitask. You can be mowing the lawn, in the gym, driving in the car, going to work, feeding the kids, doing whatever. You can have your headset in and you're multitasking and learning. So that appealed to me. Secondly, how scalable it is. That is incredible. I do a show, I upload it to one place, and the magic of the internet, the RSS feed, I don't know how it works, I don't care how it works, suddenly means that that show is distributed all over the place. iTunes, Stitcher, all over the place. Fantastic. So it's easy for me to do. It's highly scalable. And the best bit, it has cost me to do my setup in total around $20. That's it.
Wow. Yeah.
So, Steve, good question. I'll answer that. Do you market? So, the actual doing of the show takes me 5 minutes to upload it, and of course 5 or 6 minutes to record it. But you're spot on. You have to do some marketing. The first thing that I find very bizarre was that a lot of people spend a lot of money investing in all the technology, the microphones, the sound desk, and all that stuff. Yet they spend no time making sure that their podcast gets found. So I spent about a day reading up on anything I could find how to optimize your podcast to be found by iTunes. iTunes is just a library, a search engine, library, whatever you want to call it. So how are you going to get found? And I made some critical changes, and a couple of days later, boom, for the term small business, I'm on the carousel front page about position 10. Well, that's not bad for a $20 investment. So people are finding me from there, but you have to go about getting other people. Now, the other interesting thing that I've noticed, or one of the things that I talk about in the show, is how do you get your message out there? How do you get known in a very crowded marketplace? Everyone wants, it's battle of the eyeballs. Everybody wants you to like them, watch them, view them, listen to them, read their stuff, watch their YouTube channel and stuff. So how do you get noticed? And my strategy has been very simple. Rather than me continually shouting from the rooftops, listen, 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 which is soul destroying, I've got to tell you, I make the show so amazing that the people who are listening, they want to tell their friends. They want to tell people. That's the key for me. So, for example, I only launched it a couple of hours ago because I thought, how can I make this real experience even better than it is? And I put a thank you page on my website. So anyone who subscribes, because I don't know who they are with iTunes, I don't know who subscribes, I've now encouraged people to now message my site and leave a comment, their name, what sort of business they've got, so I can personally thank them. So I spend most of my time producing the greatest 5-minute show that I can, no waffle, tremendous business advice that you can action straight away. And if you're doing an awesome job, people share it without asking, people share it without begging, and you don't need to keep shouting from the rooftops. The other thing to consider is this is a long-term approach. I'm not doing this for 1 week and then hoping I'm going to hit the big time. This is a long-term plan. But here's the most important thing as well. I've been going now 5 weeks. And in 5 weeks, I've had 4 new clients. So you're probably thinking, well, what sort of clients am I getting? How is this turning into money? Very simple. Targeted audience, niche advice, good hitting, hard hitting advice. People then contact me. Mark, can you help me with my business plan? Mark, can you help me with my social media stuff? Mark, I had 2 people. Mark, can you help me set up a podcast? How funny is that? Mark, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? So I've had 4 paying clients, earn a nice amount of money from basically 5 minutes a day and a little bit of marketing and stuff. And it's working really well. Now, some of the things I handle myself, and some of the things I refer to other people. I have a very extensive network over the years that I've built up of experts, and I refer them to people that can help with other things. So, for example, the other day I had someone contact me. Hi, Mark. I want to get going. What do you recommend? Well, you need a site. What do you think? Maybe WordPress. Cool. Can you help me? No, but I know people who can. You've got a sensible budget, and so on and so on and so on. So that's where I'm at. So that's why I set it up. That's my journey. Having a fantastic time. I feel like this is the old page going up to write something to make my like it, Robert. Thank you for joining us. And that's where I'm at now. It's not for everybody. I got that. And not everybody wants to do audio. I got that. But I'm not after everybody. What I'm after are particularly small business owners who don't want waffle, got no time to listen for an hour to a load of rambling nothing, want hard-hitting, good business advice that they can go away at the end of the show and go, you know what, I can action that, That's going to get me a result. I can do that. That's going to get me more business. And that, to a certain extent, is why it's being shared and why it's been successful. In the first month, I got almost 3, not that I measure because everyone gets very hung up on downloads and stuff, but just to give you a flavor, because I'm doing a show on it, I got around 3,000 downloads in the first month of my show. So just to give you a flavor, it goes up and one thing and another. But that doesn't interest me. I'd rather have 5 downloads and 3 clients than 50,000 downloads and no clients. And that's why I did it. And I'm having a fantastic time. And I'm doing it, basically, I bought some podcast artwork cover, went to fiverr.com. That cost me $12, big money. And I have it hosted, and that cost me $15 a month. That is the cost of running a global, because I have a global business from my lounge with no equipment. That's it. And I love it. And the response, but also what's important is the feedback. I have you look at the reviews I get, and you look at the people who message me saying, Mark, love the 5-minute format. Love the idea. I just get a tip, boom, finish, move on. Love that. It may not be for everybody. Some people may want a rambly hour. That's cool. But my show's not like that. If you want hard hitting, you've got no time and you just want to hear the result and get on with it, I might have a great small business show for you.
Now, out of that, I've got a couple of further questions before we get back to the main thread.
Okay.
How do you actually get a targeted audience?
Okay. Well, this goes back to the philosophy, how to catch butterflies in your garden. There are 2 ways. First way is to go out with a very big net. The second way is to grow very nice flowers. So what do I mean? I mean, you have targeted content, and it's so amazing that the audience gravitate towards you. So in all of my blurbage, it says small business. The podcast is called Your Small Business Podcast. The website, Small Business Podcast. Everything shouts small business owner, small business podcast. That in itself draws small business owners towards me. I'm not interested in corporates. I'm not interested in startups. I'm not interested in a person who hasn't got a business yet. They're for other people. It doesn't mean I don't like them, but they're not for that's not my audience. What I talk about is small, and then because I positioned it, my only remit in life is to give the greatest advice that is targeted and relevant to small business owners. That's the key. And then you know what? They just come at you. I don't have to do any more than that because it's targeted, it's niche, it's relevant, and it's focused. That's how you get a targeted audience.
Okay. Now, you have, over the years, built let's just have a look at this. It says, Mark Shaw, author, keynote speaker, podcaster, trainer, and troubleshooter. And that's your tagline. I know that to be true because you and I have known each other for the last 12 years. And we've been involved in a lot of different adventures, and we've come together occasionally to help each other. But how key is something like Twitter to what you're actually doing on the podcast?
How key is what? Just say that again. How key is?
Twitter.
Okay, so I've been in the Twitter trenches for, 9.5 years now. I love Twitter. Twitter's provided me a tremendous income opportunity. I've met fantastic people all around the globe, got to speak. I've been on TV, Sky, all out because of Twitter. So it's been fantastic. But here's the thing. Twitter has changed dramatically, particularly in the last couple of years. Twitter is still fantastic for 4 things. Breaking news, everyone goes to Twitter for breaking news. That's where it happens first. Live events, Twitter have invested all their pounds, shillings and pence or dollars and cents into live events. I was in Spain and I was watching live the Manchester concert from Spain. Fantastic. So those 2 things. Discovery, it's still amazing what's going on in your world, what's going on in the world. And finally, for listening. Great for brands, for businesses to listen to hear what people are saying about you. Where it's not so good anymore, in my own experience and many others, is engagement. Nobody talks to you anymore. No one engages with you anymore. You can DM people till you're blue in the face. They all think it's spam, automated, and they don't want to talk to you. No one's got any time for other than they follow. When you follow up, nothing seems to happen. If I go back 5 years and send out a message, I'd have 50 comments, 80 comments, all sorts of things. Now, lucky if I get one. So the medium has changed, and part of the change is because there are other players in the game. Snapchat, they've all changed dramatically, their offerings, how they do things and so on. So if you sit there thinking, I'm just going to stick with one thing, sadly, you're going to be in trouble. So I've pivoted, I've evolved. Not only do I talk about Twitter, and I still love talking about that stuff, and it's great for businesses, and there are certain things that are really cool about it. But you need to also think about LinkedIn's. I've just rejoined LinkedIn after being away for 3 years. Wow, it's changed. Very different. And I'm interested in how people are using that and how they're not using it. And I'm trying a few ideas and seeing what resonates and whatever. But the key message I want to say to people is you don't have a media team behind you. Because of that, you can't be everywhere. You can't be a Gary V producing quality, relevant, targeted content in 16 different platforms. It's impossible. Because if you are, then that's your job. You aren't a small business owner. You're a social media producer because that's all you're doing, right? So if you can't be everywhere, which you can't, you've got to focus on where is best for you and your business. Where is the bestest chance of hooking up with people who are interested in your product or service with the time and the resource you have available? Most people go, well, my audience could be everywhere. I get that, but where's the best chance with what you have? Because wherever you're hanging out, you've got to put in a lot of effort, time. It's the replying, the commenting, the quality posting, the engaging, and all that other stuff that nobody wants to do. Everyone just wants to auto post. And as I call it, everyone wants to have a presence without being present. It doesn't work on social media. It's called social for a reason, right? So that's why, I've tried Snapchat, wasn't for me. I had a Facebook page, wasn't for me. I'm not a great fan of Facebook, I have to say. If you look at my thing, the only reason why I've got a personal thing is because I occasionally need it to do things like this. I had an Instagram thing. I got rid of that because it's too much, Stephen. It becomes overwhelming. And if you're just duplicating the same thing, there's a sense of you're really blasting the universe with your stuff. And there's this warm and fuzzy feeling you get that, oh my God, I'm working really hard on all this. You're not. You're not. I keep saying to people, I just did a show yesterday, show me the money. Likes, comments, retweets, shares, all this lovey-dovey, likey stuff. Makes you feel warm and fuzzy at night, and you sit around the dining room table and, how was your day, dear? I got a few likes on a photo of a puppy, and I did this and I did that, and I changed the logo with Canva. You can waste your whole life just doing nothing. And then when you ask them the question, how many business leads did you get today? How many conversions did you make? How many people did you speak to? They look at you like, what? No, I didn't do any of that. I was too busy changing the logo on my font and the colour of the so-and-so. So I very much believe back to basics, and that's a lot of what I talk about. Social's great, but I think it's made a lot of us lazy. It's made a lot of us not do the things we need to do, right? Agreed, Steve. Go where the money is. You've got to, if you want a prop business, you've got to do stuff that creates conversions. I'm not interested in how many people like a post of mine. What I'm interested in is how many subscribers join my podcast, how many people sign up for your newsletter, how many people bought your product. Now we're talking proper business stuff. And so many people just got so lazy. It's so easy. I said to someone the other day, right, your target audience, LinkedIn, okay, what are you doing when you get someone? Oh, I'm emailing them and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm tweeting them and I'm trying to find them on Facebook. And I said, why don't you ring them up? What? And they looked at me like, what do you mean ring them up? I said, well, if you go to their LinkedIn and they've got their website, which most have, on there's a contact number. Why don't you ring them up? Oh, didn't think of that. Didn't think of that. That's what I'm talking about. They all want to connect and, oh, I found you via Gmail account you've had 15 years ago and you're on Pinterest and all this. Ring them up. Get back to face-to-face networking. Get back to phoning people. Start ringing people up. Now, people have just substituted the old-fashioned stuff, which is tried and tested for thousands of years, and they just think social's the answer to everything, and it's not. It has a place, but it's not the be-all and end-all. There are other ways to market your business, right, that the vast majority of people do none of it. They just hope and pray, and they throw a dart in the air, and they hope it lands somewhere in a social media platform somewhere.
Yeah, you mentioned a phone call there, and these days not many people do. Good point. Because it's
yourself, Stephen, how many people ever ring you up and go, I saw your stuff on LinkedIn or Facebook, can I have a chat with you about it? I can't remember the last time anybody rang me, ever.
No, I can't. I mean, it's all on Facebook Messenger these days. But I mean, coming back to what you said a moment ago, which is the bottom line, how many people actually buy your services? And we're told that what we shouldn't do, and I just want you to give your views on this, we shouldn't direct sell.
Yeah, no, okay. So,
I'm sorry, I'm not. Everything you said is perfect. I'm just talking to the general public, not about.
Yeah, no. Okay. The name of the game, I did a show about it a few days ago. Your mission is to be remembered. That is your mission. So that when the person is ready to buy, they remember you. You don't need to hard sell anything. You don't need to drive people mad. One of the shows I just recorded, in fact, it's out right now. Everyone is selling, no one is buying. You go to any networking event, you hang out on LinkedIn, every post is just selling. So why are you selling to people who are all selling? No one's buying anything, right? You go to a networking event, you're trying to sell your wares to everyone who's selling. The better approach is to help people, is to do something of value, exactly, provide value to people without asking for anything in return. Demonstrate your knowledge, demonstrate your value, give them something right up front that helps them. Hi, who can I connect you with? How can I help your business? How can I refer you to someone? What can I do for you that's going to make your day? Right? To be remembered, that's all you want. Then when they are ready, if you've done your job properly over the months, they'll go, who do I know who does this Facebook thing? Or who do I know who does it? Oh, that Mark Shaw fella, he's always talking about that. He's consistently showing up about it. That's been his thing for years. I'll contact because I've remembered him. Most people are totally forgettable. One of the funny things, Stephen, and the other people listening, okay, is on LinkedIn, for example, you can see, would you like to connect with all these people? Yep. And I look through, oh my God, everybody writes the same bio. They must have all gone to the same bio school. Right? Everyone says the same. Now, for a laugh, mine is completely ridiculous. Mine says Dragon Slayer, small business sorcerer, podcast legend, chief something of something else and driven by lattes, something like that, just to stand out, just to be different, okay? Because everyone reads the same. How are you going to be remembered when people have got 3 nanoseconds to make a decision on you, right? How are you going to be remembered if the first impression I get of you is, another digital consultant, another business consultant, another startup expert, another web, they all say the same. Now, you don't have to go ridiculous like I have, but think about what can you do with your profiles, with your approach to be remembered. That's the battle, because no one remembers anybody unless you're doing something spectacular or remarkable, or your service is remarkable or something. And if you're not doing any of those, then frankly, shouting from the rooftops about how amazing your business is day and night won't get you anywhere, because that's what everyone is doing. You need to be doing different stuff. And then when you do different stuff in time with a consistent approach, people remember you. And when they are ready to hire, you know what the best thing ever that you can see is when someone says, I need this type of person. And in the thread, everyone is saying, check out the same person, check out the person, check out. You don't have to say anything because that, as I say in one of the shows I did, the best business is referred business because you haven't got to sell yourself. You're not a commodity. No one's going to ask you when they refer you, are you the cheapest in the tin? Because they've been referred to you. They know what sort of caliber of work you do. It's the best bit. And unless you're an idiot, you've got referred business in the can. And that's what you should be aiming for. Not a commodity business where the first thing they ask you is, oh, how much do you charge? How can I get it cheaper? Can't you knock $100 whatever off? Then you're struggling because now you're up against everyone else who'll do it for $5 cheaper. You got no longevity in that. You've got to position yourself differently.
So you've got to stand out. Should you play to your strengths?
Yes, absolutely. So I know I am rubbish at loads of things. Rubbish. Writing is not my forte. I have terrible grammar. I'm not great with spelling. Admin, I'm useless. I'm a terrible planner. I have no strategy. I'm all over the place. I get bored very quickly. I have the worst stuff going. But what I'm good at is talking. As you can see, I could talk for England about this stuff. I've done over 200 interviews on the radio. Why? Because I seem to have a gift for making complex things bullet points. Bang, 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 bang. Very quick, get your point across. I seem to be able to condense things very quickly. That seems to be one of the skills that I have. But other stuff, can't do in the slightest. So if you have a budget, find people to help you. Find the other people who are great. You know, I would spend 3 hours trying to change something on my WordPress website. Just find someone who knows a bit of that stuff, and for 5 minutes and 10 quid, they'll do it for you. I tried to do my own podcast artwork. An hour later even with Canva, I gave up. I paid $12. I had an expert do it back 24 hours later. So you know what? False economy. Some things, get an expert in, get someone to help you, knows what they're doing. So, for example, Google AdWords, LinkedIn advertising, Facebook advertising. I've wasted thousands on all of that because I'm not an expert. Don't waste the money. Hire an expert who has a track record, a demonstrable record of success with businesses rather than all this trial and error, $30, $50, $30, $50. You just waste $500. You'll get a very poor response and you'll have learned nothing. Get an expert in for certain things. WordPress, IT, get an expert in if you have the budget. If you haven't, well then folks, you've got to learn it yourself.
Yeah, and you just mentioned something very important. The presentation is key. I mean, you've got the manner to present it, you've got the content, but when people come and look at it, it's the visual is important, isn't it? What they actually see first up.
We live in a world where you've got 1 nanosecond to convince someone they should even start to look at any of your stuff. That's the world we're in now, whether we like it or not. I didn't write that rule. That's just how it is, right? I'm amazed how many people on networking sites still have no photo of themselves. I don't care if you've written the greatest article on anything. If you don't have a profile photo, I ain't looking at it. I'm going to engage with you. I'm not going to comment with you. In fact, on Twitter, I've turned on one of the selections you can make is to not get any comments from anybody who has not got a profile picture. Not interested. If you can't be bothered to put a picture, I can't be bothered to talk to you. I don't care who you are, because that's as a minimum, you got to have that, surely. And then the photos people put up, it's like Darth Vader in the dark. You can't see them. We're not models. It doesn't have to be about being a model, but just look as though you're professional. It's your business. The number of people on LinkedIn, and it's a photo of them in a bikini. What's that about? So,
Indeed.
Just be professional, because here's the bigger picture with that. If one of the things I always find unusual is people present themselves as the world's greatest expert on a topic, which is fine, not a problem with that. But then all their materials sound cheap and look cheap. The way they present themselves and the way they do everything is cheap. And then they say they charge $20 an hour for their advice, but they're the world's greatest expert. It doesn't work. You've got to be congruent. If you are saying you're the best, you need to be expensive and believe it. And then present your marketing materials as a sign that you're doing a great job. How many website people do you go to that are website designers, and you go to their website and it's ridiculous? It's built like a 3-year-old. I'm never going to hire you. There's spelling mistakes. It's just not very good. Now, you don't perhaps mind when it's a £5 service you're offering, but if you're telling me you're the world's greatest WordPress expert, you've got to have a professional site. That's your show. That's your calling card. So you don't have to spend that. I mean, okay, I've got a real thing about Hotmail email addresses. I don't care. If I meet you and you tell me you have a Hotmail email address as your business, I ain't doing business with you. It's ridiculous. All right. So there were certain little things that cost you no money, little money. A domain name costs you, but my domain name, £9 a year. Ridiculous. Yeah. You then have email addresses feeding off of that domain. You can have a Gmail address. There's nothing, that's professional. It's work, right? But Hotmail, forget it. That just tells me you're not taking anything seriously. Business cards. You don't have to have a Rolls Royce or a business card, but if it's just as thick as toilet paper, that tells me the quality of the work you're going to be doing. All right. So there are little things that tell me a lot about you before I've even spoken with you, before I've even got to your website or done anything with you. And if they're not shouting, Mark, this is a great person you need to do something with, you're making your life so much harder. And here's the funny thing, Stephen, okay? Yep. One of the shows I did was I called it, do you have a hobby or do you have a business? All right. Mm-hmm. Some people, they spend more money on their hobbies than they do on their businesses. Right? That tells the story for me. If you're spending more money and time making your wine or out cycling or knitting or doing whatever your hobby is, than you do on your small business, because it doesn't matter it works from home. I don't care where you work. You can provide an amazing service on a beach, in your bedroom. It doesn't matter anymore. The world's fantastic for that opportunity it gives everybody. But if you're spending more time on your wine mucking about hobby than you do on your business with the website, with the few tools and bits and pieces you need, that tells me everything I need to know about you.
Mark, we've said we'd do half an hour. We've overrun, and it's been fantastic. Wow. And this is Belive. This is the magic of Belive.tv.
I can talk for England about this stuff. That's what I'm doing. That's why I do to be frank, that's why I do a podcast, because I know I can talk for years on this topic. I'm very passionate, as you can tell, about it. I don't mince my words. I've been through the mill. I've done everything. I've gone wrong. I've tried everything. I've been there, done it, had the t-shirt, failures, successes, all sorts of things. That's why when I tell people stuff, it's not because I think it. It's not because I heard someone doing it. It's because I physically tried it myself and I know what works better than other things. And that's what I want people to go away with, is this idea that, it's not all woolly. And you have to, being your own boss has a lot of rewards. I can go on holiday in half an hour. I can book up a flight and we can go. That to me is being your own boss. Do what you like when you want. But you got to wake up every morning motivated. You got to get on the phone. You got to take knockbacks. You got to have a roller coaster of emotions. That's the other side of it. And so it can get tough. And I just want to give people a balanced view of this world of small business ownership. Right? That so many things they just do wrong, so many things they're not doing at all, so many things they think they're doing, but really they're not. And I just want to be that guy that says, you know what? Listen to this stuff and learn from it and then decide how you want to move your business forward. Because the serious people will take action and the rest will still be where they are in a year's time.
Wise words. Wise words. What a way to do a close. That was brilliant.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Right, now, just to everybody who catches this, the link for the podcast is, I'm going to paste that now. Let's take care of business. So, Mark's podcast. And I'm posting a link direct on Facebook from Belivetv, and you can go straight to the podcast. And they can watch previous episodes, listen to previous episodes, yeah?
Well, you can listen to every single episode. The beauty of subscribing, right, is if you go to my website, there's a player there. So you can listen right now to, I think, 54 episodes. It's all sitting there. You can click on the episodes button at the top. It gives you a list of every single show to click into the individual shows and leave a comment, a bit more blurbage, whatever. But the best thing is to subscribe. Why? Because then when I update it, okay, it gets updated. That's how it works. Stephen, can I give the website address specifically for the podcast?
Yes, surely.
Okay, so it's smallbusinesspodcast.rocks is the specific site for the podcast.
Just give me a second.
There's a link on that other site to it, but the actual site.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll post that afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Perfect.
Right. Have you got any parting words for everybody before we wrap this up?
I have to say thank you firstly for inviting me. Thank you to all your guests and all the people who watch this whenever they watch it. Anyone got any questions they want to ask me, podcasting or small business in general, tweet me at Mark Shaw. Come to the website, have a listen. If it's for you, fantastic. If it's not, shame and fantastic as well. But Stephen, thank you for inviting me. My first experience with Belivetv has been fantastic. Thank you.
Excellent. Job done. Belivetv is the place to be if you want to do live broadcasting. Mark, it's been a pleasure. To everybody who's watched today, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you, Mark, on his podcast, me on the next video. And take care, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thanks very much. See ya.